Morning, everyone, and welcome to the Excitech BIM 360 surgery. Today it is number 39, and we're going to take a little look at the extended access program and what happens specifically when it ends. So Autodesk introduced this a couple of months ago to help with the whole COVID situation. So you get free access to BIM 360 docs and design, and it's entitled the Extended Access Program. So if you've been on this for a couple of months, you've probably been using it and hopefully it's been working quite well. But at the end of June, it ends. So what happens then? So let's take a look. So if you're happy with the program and the trial has worked reasonably well, you purchase the service and on you go. So first thing to note is that it ends on the end of June, 30th of June. You have 1 month to purchase that subscription. And if you purchase that subscription within that 30 days after the trial ending, you can keep and just work away with all your data. So that is one thing to note, is that you've got 30 days to purchase after the extended access, and then you can keep your data and just keep working away as you work. If it's beyond that, you sort of then have to start again from scratch. So if you're going to do it before the 30-day ends, or ideally do it before this month ends. But what I wanted to do this surgery was about, well, what happens if you're not keeping it on? So you've used it, you're not quite ready to migrate to it yet, or for other reasons, you're just not going to go ahead with it. So what happens? So I've got a project here, and this is my typical Excitech 360 surgery project. So we have to look at ways of how we can keep the data. So the data all sits within 360. If we don't migrate and buy the project or the software, we can't have access to the data. So we need to do something prior to that. So what we need to look at is downloading that data. So if we just click in the module selector and go to BIM 360 doc. So this is where we would have hosted all of our content. There is no automatic button to click and say download project within BIM 360. There is some paid services out there that allow you to pay for it. They work really, really well, but there is a cost to that. So I'm not going to look at them in this surgery. So manually, if we have to do something. So you're going to have data within plans and project files. So there's a key difference between how the data is handled in here. You can see that if I'm on project files, you can click into any folder and you can click any file, and then you can click the download source file. What you can also do is if you click in and click the top header and click up here, you can select all of the folders, and then you can download everything within project files in a single go. So you can see there that you can just download everything to a single zip file. Off it goes, and it will prompt you to save it. So if I just go to the desktop and we click save, off it will run, but it will take down that in a zip file. It will have every file and folder within project files. So that's relatively simple-ish to replicate that on your own server. However, when we click into plans and we try and do the same thing, we do not get the download option. This is because the way it processes the files and it extracts the data. So what we must do is go in and find each of the files individually and then download them in a single set. So it's a little bit tricky because it extracts the data and processes the metadata. So you must go in and do the project files file by file or folder by folder. Click OK, and then it will take that down into a zip file, and I'll save that there again. So a little bit manual, but you can get your data out by clicking into each of the folder. And if there is files, take them down in a zip file from plans. Project files is that little bit easier in the fact that you can just select the section up here and then just download all in one go. So that is how you can get the docs information out. There is things you can't do. So you can't download all the users, you can't download all the issues, anything that you've done. So it's basically a raw dump of data out in two aspects. So first project file, single zip, and then a zip file for each of the files that you're selecting in the plans folder. So all the stuff that you may have done around design collaboration with the teams, the packages, all that type of stuff, you can't get that out. So this is just a dump of the raw data. So that's if you're sort of just completely cutting it, not going off and doing anything more. Which, if you need to do it, it's kind of harsh, and that's the way to do it. Another way that you could start to keep the data and work with it until such time that you think you're ready to go back onto it is to just keep a design or a docs license. So in under the project admin, so if you were to say you've got, let's say, 20 people on design, 100 people on docs, but if you still want to access your data, is that you could just put and keep one document management license. So what that would mean is that in the members, you would just have one person that has access to the hub and then can access that data anytime they want. So it's obviously a little cost to it, but it may work quite well. And then you'll have the full functionality of docs with the files, the viewing issues, all that type of stuff with markup, and then just purely accessing the data. Let's look at the situation where you're using docs and design. So what do you do there? So you sort of need to do a similar process, is that you need to look at who is actually using the design license, because that's going to be key. So if you've got someone that's not been using it and they've just been using docs, to use design, you're going to need it linked to Revit. So you're going to need to ensure that the person that has the design license will be someone that is using the collaboration tool. So somebody that uses the Revit platform and has been collaborating and sending stuff up and down and using the packages. If they do that and keep the design license, they'll obviously keep the docs license, so they will still have access that way. So it just depends on how you're doing that. So BIM 360 updated the project admin services screen a couple of weeks ago. So it now looks like this. So this is where you activate the services. And you can see the way it now works is that you just activate the service. You don't actually have to specify a user. So you can just go in and activate, deactivate. So if I go assets and I go click deactivate the service, it will then deactivate and it will not be active on this particular project. If I need to activate a service, you simply just activate it. And then what you must do is assign the correct user to that particular service. So if we were to look at this within the members of this project, you will see that this project has 3 people and you've got a project admin. So what you will need to do, if you're going to keep someone on design, you will need to ensure that they have the correct rights. So in this instance, I'm going to say that my Excitech member is going to be the one that is going to stay on this project. So what I will do is I will remove Carl as a project admin, and I'm just going to, he's not going to be a member of these projects. And I can say that Jonathan's email address, he's also going to be removed from the project. And then what you need to ensure that is, if you're keeping design, you need someone as the project admin, and you need someone with admin on design collaboration, because then if that's got no access, no one will have access to it on the project. So if you are keeping on design, just ensure that the service is activated and ensure that the project members both have admin access to admin and to design collaboration. So there's sort of your 3 options. One is to just not renew or not continue, then just download the data via project files and plans. Keep a docs license running, that keeps you access to all the data. But if you want to keep design running and get the collaboration, you then just need to ensure that they are a project member and then they are an admin set for design collaboration. That will ensure then that the service will be active for their user when they launch Revit. So a couple of little options, just need to look and see what you need to do. If you're in doubt, just reach out to me or anyone at the Excitech team. We can help and advise on what to do in the next sort of 2 weeks as this extended access comes to an end. Hopefully you will go ahead and then you can look at to us for help on how you can get this really working and up and running to get the best from the system. So thank you very much. That's nice and quick today. Join me next Friday for another 360 surgery. It's going to be number 40. Everyone have a good Friday, great weekend, and stay safe.